So the final kit for March is the Ruffled Spring Planter. Now this comes in a pot that we had last April that sold out, and it's just perfect for bulbs, so we bought it back again for spring this year, and it's this lovely kind of fluted terracotta pot in its little saucer, and it's lovely. It's just gorgeous for spring bulbs. So in your kit you'll have your gravel, compost, moss, 3 different types of moss. You'll have your narcissi, your white narcissi, your blue muscari, and your tete-a-tete, so your little yellow kind of daffodils, miniature daffodils, and you'll have your birch twigs. Now these, unfortunately, this is like a humble brag, they are so fresh that they're obviously not blooming yet. So I haven't got any that's going to show you the beautiful colour, but I know you've obviously seen, you'll see it on the website. So you'll see the lovely kind of soft blue, white and yellow together. Okay, so let's begin. So we're going to add in the gravel that's in your kit. So just add that all in. Make sure your pot is on its saucer first. So just add that all in. That provides that lovely drainage. We're then going to pop in our compost. So you'll probably need all, or most, if not all, of your compost. So this has got lots of horticultural grit in it, so it's nice and free draining, so it's perfect for your bulbs. Okay, so kind of taking it so you've got probably a couple, 2.5 inches maybe of the sort of the pot rim. So if I show you like that, and then we're then going to take our bulbs out and place them on top. Okay, let's start with the 3 narcissi. So after giving them a nice drink, you can simply take them out of their plant pot, and then you simply need to just break up those bulbs and do it over your pot, and then just simply place your 3 narcissi bulbs just on top of that compost in a sort of triangle shape. And then we're going to add in our tete-a-tete. So these are the soft kind of yellowy miniature daffodils. So then again, doing it over the top of your plant pot. I'm just going to break those up. And then you're going to add those in a triangle as well. So that means that it will sort of, they'll sit in the gaps that your narcissi bulbs have created. And then that final one will go there. And we're going to jiggle them around at the end once the moss is on. Woo. Those are all in. Okay, and then now we can add in our blue muscari. So I would take these out and break them up sort of on a table. So you're just sort of pulling them apart, just pulling the little bulbs, and then we're simply pushing those gently into the compost. So you can twizzle the roots if you want to on the palm of your hand to create a little nest, and then we're just pushing them into the compost. Now this just feels like proper hands dirty spring planting. It's lovely. Okay, we're nearly there. So you're just dotting those muscari bulbs in amongst your larger sort of narcissi and tete-a-tete. Okay, so now we're ready. Oh, see, it just looks lovely even without any colour. And now going to add it in our moss. you have 3 different types of moss. You've got your flat moss, which is this carpet kind of moss here. You've got your bun moss, which is this sort of more, chunky kind of green moss, and you have a little bit of sphagnum. Now the flat moss, as I probably bored you all with the other tutorials, is sort of the main moss that we're going to use. It's the easiest moss to kind of dot amongst all these like lovely bulbs. So you will have a lot more of the flat moss in your kits. And then just touches of the other 2, just for interest. So I'm going to break this moss up and just put it amongst the bulbs. It doesn't have to be neat, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's the whole point. Just try and sort of enjoy it. Enjoy having your hands in the soil. Take your time. And then I'm going to put some bun moss in. So I'm going to take the back of this root off, just so it sits a bit more flush against the compost. But again, it just adds another kind of tone of green. And then I'll add the sphagnum moss in amongst the other little bulbs. And that's all in. Now you can now do a technique if you want to, where you can lift the bulbs and place them back down so you see more of the bulb. To do that, you simply put your fingers, your thumb and your index finger either side of the bulb, and then with your other hand you gently lift and then you put it back down. So you're gently lifting and putting it back down. All that does is it just lifts the bulb above the moss. It's probably easier with the little muscari, to be fair, but it lifts the bulbs above the moss, but the roots are still in contact with the soil, but you can see that gorgeous papery sort of bulbs texture amongst everything else, and it just adds to your kit and to the aesthetics of your kit. Okay, so that's all the bulbs in and nestled and looking lovely, and now we can add in our birch twigs. So you'll have a little bundle of birch twigs. You can cut them down or leave them long, it's totally up to you, but you're simply putting them into the compost. Now, they don't need a water supply, so it doesn't matter how deep they go, just make sure they're in sort of nice and sturdy. They provide a little bit of support for the muscari, just sort of weave amongst, and they look gorgeous and sort of rustic. It looks like a kind of spring woodland floor. So you can use as many or as little as you want, it's completely up to you. And there we go. Okay, in terms of care for your spring planter, it's as similar to all the other kits really. It's a case of making sure it's got enough sunlight, so put it somewhere nice and sunny, as cool as possible. Now I know that's not, you know, realistic when we've got central heating on. It doesn't matter too much. Just put it in somewhere where you know it's not too hot. Don't put it next to a radiator, for example. And then keep the soil damp but not waterlogged. So if there's any water pooling in your saucer, tip out that excess so that the roots aren't sat in water for a prolonged period of time. And that's about it. When the bulbs go over, now I'm going to tell you to do this if you want to with the muscari. With the narcissi and the daffodils, I'm not sure, well, from experience, I haven't had any experience putting these back into my garden, whereas I have with the muscari. So I'm going to tell you how to do it with the muscari, and then if you want to do it with the tete-a-tete and the narcissi, please go ahead, give it a go. There's nothing to lose. So you allow your flowers to go over and you can cut them down and take them off. You can deadhead, so for example with the narcissi and the tete-a-tete, once one of the flowers has died, you cut it at the base of the stem and then it encourages new blooms to bloom. So you can do that with all of them actually. You can cut them down at the base of the stem and then that allows new growth to come. In terms of replanting for next spring, you take, once everything's gone, everything's looking really dead and horrible, and you're ready to refresh your pot with something new, you simply cut the flowers off, but leave all of the green stems. You allow those green stems or shoots to go yellow. Once they've gone yellow, you can then cut them. I'll show you, you can cut them here. So these are all going to be yellow. Cut them, and then you pop them 10 centimeters down into the ground with the cut sort of area facing up, and then there is no reason at all why they will not come back next spring. So it's definitely the kit that keeps giving. You know, you'll enjoy it this spring in your home, and then hopefully you'll enjoy it next spring in your garden. So there you have it. That is the Ruffled Spring Planter Kit.